Hello, friend. I'm Kristen, Doctor of Physical Therapy at Into the Light Healing and Bodywork. Are you feeling tired even though it's not bedtime? I have a series of exercises and scripture verses here to work with those feelings while stretching and strengthening the body. You might want a chair nearby. I will use one, but you can do this routine without the chair. Just need to make some modifications. All right, let's meet on the mat. All right, we are going to begin laying on our backs, which in my opinion is the best place to begin when we're feeling tired. We'll keep the knees bent up here, and arms can come down at the sides for now, and we'll just kind of take a moment to check in with the body, notice what we're feeling, maybe if there's something besides tired. Take a couple breaths here before we begin to move. Notice your breathing as you move. Notice what happens, especially with the sacrum, at the base of the spine, and with your belly, and with your ribs, and how there's a ripple effect throughout the whole body. The motion that we're going to start with, the exercises, it can be small, depending on the strength of your abdominal muscles. What we're going to do is, as we exhale, we're going to bring the pubic bone towards the rib cage, kind of making the belly a little bit smaller, closer together. And then as we breathe in, we're going to move the opposite direction, really arching the low back and making the belly come forward towards the ceiling. Exhaling, tucking the tailbone under, rocking back, and then inhaling, rocking forward, just to whatever range of motion you have available to you. Sometimes it's very small, but it changes as we practice the exercise. And then I'm going to invite you to bring the heel of your hand to those front hip bones and the middle finger to the top of the pubic bone. And while your hands are here, rested and relaxed, not pushing or forcing anything, I invite you to notice when the hip bones at the front or at the top of the pelvis are higher, and when the pubic bone at the bottom of the pelvis is higher, as we breathe out and tilt the pelvis back. Inhaling, bringing the tailbone, the tip of the tailbone closer to the floor, and exhaling here. And notice that rocking sensation that happens through the hands that are relaxed on the top of the pelvis. And as we breathe through this, using this exercise to engage the abdominal muscles, as we breathe out and relax them as we breathe in, I invite you to reflect on what Jesus says in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11, verses 28 to 30. He says, "Come to me, all who are labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." What does that mean to you in this moment? What is your burden? How are you heavy laden? And how can you give it to God? All right, from here we're going to find pelvic neutral, which means the point at which the teeter-totter, that is your pelvis here, those bones that stick out, where is it balanced? Where are they level? There should be a little arch in the low back, so some space in between your spine and the floor. Should feel the sacrum underneath you pushing into the floor. Should feel the shoulder blades and the rib cage pushing into the floor or resting on the floor. And then I invite you to engage your lower abdominals, to pull them down and in. This is an area that it's easy to be very weak in, something that maybe we don't think about very often. So we've got the lower abdominals engaged and we've got the upper abdominals engaged. And from here, we're going to press into the feet. Keep that pelvic neutral. You can have your hands here if that helps, but keep that pelvic neutral as we lift it up, pushing the feet down into the floor. Maybe even going the extra step and pushing the feet down and away from the body. That engages the quads a little bit more. Trying to keep that pelvic neutral as we come back down. Breathing in at the bottom, and then as we breathe out, engaging those glutes again, engaging those quads again, keeping the neutral pelvis, and inhaling back down. Try to keep the movement slow and in control. If you notice a little swaying in me or in yourself, that's okay. That's just part of the process of getting stronger. It's an awareness of a weakness. And once you're aware that you are weak, you can understand what's going on, and then you can take action to correct it. Inhaling, lowering down in a pelvic neutral, feeling the belly, and then exhaling, lifting the pelvis in a neutral position. Maybe activating the quads, maybe not. And let's do one more. Oh, I got my breathing backwards. It's okay, just pick it back up. Okay, next exercise. Kind of a version of a crunch. So we're going to tuck the chin towards the throat first, keeping the head on the floor. And then we'll roll the spine up by reaching the back of the head up and away from the body as the chin rolls over the chest. And then we're going to reach. You can reach across the body. You can reach at the same side. We're just going to reach in a variety of positions so that we're activating the abdominals in different ways. You have 3 different layers of the abdominals, so it's a good idea to move in different ways. Remembering always to tuck the chin first and then lift it up over the chest. And we're not coming all the way up to the knees here. Notice my motion is pretty small. I just lift my shoulder blades up and don't go beyond that. And we can reach in whatever way your imagination takes you. Trying to maintain pelvic neutral here, keeping the low ribs knit together. If you get mixed up on your breath, don't sweat it. Just come to a neutral position and return. All right. Let's tuck the shoulder blades under and then re-find that pelvic neutral if you lost it. I lost it, so I'm just going to re-find it here, going all the way back, all the way forward, and then finding that middle ground where the pubic bone and the front hip bone there, the AS, IS, are at the same height from the floor. Okay, okay? And it's really important to have that pelvic neutral for this exercise and to really engage those low ribs, the upper abdominals, keeping that engaged. We're going to straighten out the right leg. Okay, and you can have a moment here to rest and re-engage to a pelvic neutral and keep the low ribs knit together. There is a big difference here if you want to try it without the ribs engaged. I don't recommend holding it for a long time because why would you want to learn something incorrectly? But anyway, okay, so we're engaging here, low belly is scooped in and up, but we have the pelvic neutral. We're going to lift the right leg, keep the knee straight as you can. We're going to lift that right leg only like an inch up from the ground. We're going to point the toes down and then spread them. So we're engaging all the way from the tips of the toes all the way up through the pelvis, and then lengthen the head away from the body. Chin slightly tucked towards the throat. And if you notice shaking, that's pretty normal. These lower abdominals that we're challenging in this position, they can be surprisingly weak for how much we do. So it's a good idea to train them. If you need to take a break, just let your leg go down for a second or two and then re-engage. If you lose your pelvic neutral, don't worry, get back in it. If you lose the ribs, again, it's okay. Just get back in. How long are we going to do this? Okay, let's do it for 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Lower the leg. Take a second. Should feel a burn through the groin, up here, lower abdominals. We're going to slide that heel up towards the buns, and then we're going to stretch out the left. Keeping a straight knee. You can even set your foot now if you'd like, pushing the toes away from you and then spreading them. And then find that pelvic neutral, noticing too if there's a side-to-side difference. You want to engage the glutes, engage the abdominals in just the right way so that we're super even on each side. And when you think you've got it, lift the leg just an inch off of the floor. Not very much at all. Engaging from the tips of the toes all the way up through the crown of the head. Continuing to breathe. Sometimes that can be the biggest challenge. You might even notice that one side was stronger than the other. That's pretty normal too. A lot of times when people play sports or have a history of athleticism, one side will be a little bit stronger. They're used to kicking with that leg. They're used to standing on that other leg when they do their spins in ice skating. If you notice something goes awry, just take a moment to correct. Jump back in. If you need to modify, feel free to do so. And then see if you can come to a moment of peace in this. I like to challenge this side a little bit more. This is my weaker side. So I like to see if I can give it just a little more oomph. I'm not actually timing this, sorry guys. One more breath in, and then let the leg go down, taking a moment in a rested position to let the muscle recover, and then sliding the heel back towards the buns. If you're interested in a challenge here, we can try doing like a roll up here. So bringing the chin to the throat, lifting the head, and then reaching the hands towards the feet. You can hold on to your thighs if you need some help, or you can just get up normally. Engaging those abdominals to reach the hands past your feet, sitting up. And you can stay in this position, or you can grab the chair that we talked about earlier. I'm going to grab the chair. And actually, I'll go from the side here so you can see. Okay. We're going to plant the heels underneath the knees, scoop the belly in and up, bring the low ribs down, palms up, and then we lean back. Lean back so that you can feel the front abdominals being engaged. Take a breath here. Isaiah 40:30-31 says, "Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." What does the Lord have to say to you about that verse? Option here, either continue holding like this, or bring your hands to prayer, and then we'll twist. So the left elbow comes over the right thigh, and then come back to center. Right elbow comes over left thigh, and back to center. Just kind of adding a little twist here. You can do this if you're on the ground also. And then coming back up to neutral. Okay. Next we're going to stand, and I'm going to turn my chair. We're going to stand behind the chair or just stand on the mat. We're going to come into a partial squat here. Feet about hip distance apart. Engage the insides of the arches of the feet and engage the inner thighs, bringing it up, maybe squeezing the glutes a little bit here. And then we're going to bring the buns back, bending at the hips and the knees, but bring the buns back so that the knee stays over the ankle as much as possible. Keep the low ribs knit together and scoop the belly in and up. So we can hold on to something for a little balance here, and I almost feel like I'm too close. Making adjustments as needed. Option here to pulse up and down a little bit, get a little deeper in the squat and come right back out. Or you can sink deeper and stay. See what feels right for those muscles. Pull the shoulder blades down the back, long spine here, engaged abdominals. Pull the head back, chin tucks slightly. Feel the burn in the quads through the front of the thighs. Option to sink a little deeper. And then press into the feet. Pull the kneecaps up towards the hips. Squeeze the buns. Stand tall. We're going to come closer to the chair or the front of the mat and step the left foot back into a wide lunge. Maybe have the toes turned out a little bit for your anatomy, or you can have them pointing forward and just lift the heel. From here, whichever foot position feels more comfortable, tuck the tailbone just a little bit so we can try to maintain that pelvic neutral even in standing. This is good practice for walking. We're going to pull the right sit bone towards the left inner thigh. Keep that right knee above the right ankle. Pull the shoulder blades down the back and pull your head back. If, when you do that, you notice your ribs start to flare, tuck them back in and keep working on each little piece, making tiny adjustments as needed to help get you in that right posture, that right positioning that will make you stronger for standing and walking. Coming back to the breath, holding on if needed. All right, we're tired, so let's come up into standing. We'll do the right side back, standing tall for just a moment to get our bearings again. Then a big step back. Challenge yourself by not looking if you'd like. All right, so the left knee comes over the left ankle. Okay. Slight bend through the right, but mostly straight. I'm more comfortable with my heel lifted, so I'm going to stick with that. Level the pelvis here. Bring those front hip points kind of in line, parallel with the back of the chair if you've got one. Left sit bone goes towards right inner thigh to help correct and even out that alignment. Okay, and then tucking the tailbone a little bit, low ribs knit together, shoulder blades down the back, pulling the head back, but not letting those ribs flare. Also thinking about the tracking of the knee. We don't want to let that knee collapse inward, so making sure to keep that over the ankle. There's an option here if you're starting to feel invigorated to dip down, so bending that right knee and bending the left knee more and coming down a little lower and then coming back up. That's again dipping down, coming back up. And if you don't want to do that, it's okay. It's a lot harder to maintain the appropriate alignment and the cues for your best anatomical positioning if you do the movement, but it's a good way to progress or something to work towards. Okay, let's plant the back heel and maybe step it up a foot. We kind of want to challenge our balance by bringing the arch of the right foot in line with the heel of the left. And we're going to do straight knees here. Turn the pelvis so that and you'll have to adjust your foot maybe, so that the front hip bones, those ASIS, are again parallel with the back of your chair, or with or without your chair, front edge of the mat maybe. With hands on hips here, we can exhale and bend forward. Keep the shoulder blades pulled together, squeezing the spine. Back of the head lifts up towards the ceiling. Lengthen the cervical spine, the neck. Stretching through those hamstrings and quads. Sorry, hamstrings and gastroc soleus. If you have a really wide step, you might even be stretching through the quads and hip flexor on the back leg. Takes a lot to be stable in this position, so if you need to hold on, feel free to do so. And then we come up here, squeezing the buns, keeping the back moving as a unit. We're going to switch sides, remembering to challenge your balance by lining up the heel and the arch of the back foot. Straight knees, pelvis parallel, tummy pulled in and up, low ribs knit together, shoulder blades pulled down the back and squeezed, pinched to the spine, and exhaling, folding from the hips, feeling that stretch increase as we lean forward. Again, totally normal to have it feel different, one side versus the other. Taking just a few breaths here, noticing that we don't want to lock the knee out, but slight bend, not super bent, so that, well, anyway, slight bend through the knee, not locked. Belly scooped in and up, low ribs knit together, squeezing the shoulder blades together, back of the head lifted up towards the ceiling. So many things. And then on an inhale, let's come up. And then step the feet together. I'm going to face you in the chair here. You can feel free to sit on the floor or your couch, wherever you're at. And we're going to bring the soles of the feet together for a adductor stretch, butterfly stretch. Remember that? Elementary school gym. Finding a place that's comfortable, maybe even at the very edge of your seat, so those sit bones are right on the edge, as long as you feel safe and comfortable there, or getting to the floor. And we'll just let those adductors, those inner thighs, open as the spine lifts up towards the ceiling. Still engaging the abdominals here and keeping those low ribs knit together. And then remembering Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. What do you notice in your body when you hear that? I can do all things through him who strengthens me. I just get this sense of relief. It's not me who has to be strong. It's okay that I'm tired. He's my strength. I invite you to stay here as long as you'd like, or come to a neutral seated position. Taking a moment to be grateful for a few things in your life. Notice how you feel when you think about these things. The light and spirit in me honors and appreciates the light and spirit in you. Let peace be with you.